How does one follow a great leader? This Shabbat's biblical portion, Parashat Chayei, offers two models in the figures of Rebekah and Isaac, who emerge as the second generation of patriarchs and matriarchs following the deaths of Sarah and Abraham. A close reading of their lives reveals how both Rebekah and Isaac follow in the footsteps of Abraham. Rebekah comes from Abraham's birthplace and, like him, courageously travels into the unknown, leaving her family behind to meet her destiny. In fact, the Hebrew word she uses to affirm her risky decision, Elech, I will go, evokes God's original call to Abraham of Lech Lecha. Our sages associate Abraham with the characteristic of chesed, with acts of kindness. Rebekah reflects this trait when she volunteers to draw water not only for Abraham's servant when she encounters him at the well, but also his entire caravan of camels. Again, the words the Torah uses to describe her zeal remind us of those that the Torah uses to describe Abraham's own enthusiasm for serving the guests who come to his tent. Then, in next week's portion, the Torah describes the major events of Isaac's life and career. In particular, it emphasizes how he spends so many years retracing his father's steps, even redigging the same wells his father had originally excavated. However, despite traveling to the same places and doing the same things that Abraham had done, Isaac's life feels very different from his father's. He never leaves the land of Canaan, so there is no grand journey, no risk-taking. We do not hear of him welcoming guests, fighting wars on behalf of others, or performing spontaneous, extravagant acts of kindness. So it turns out that there are two ways to perpetuate the legacy of a groundbreaking leader. The first is to preserve their work. That is the Isaac model. But ironically, the critical work of preservation will, by definition, not have the exciting, revolutionary character of the original. The second way to honor the legacy of a groundbreaking leader is to live in the spirit of that leader. That is the Rebekah model. She never does exactly what Abraham does, but she cultivates within herself the spirit that animated him. He was a groundbreaking risk-taker, and so was she. Again, ironically, it is by not replicating exactly what Abraham did that Rebekah was able to channel the spirit that characterized Abraham's life. This past week, the Jewish world marked 2 years since the passing of Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, former British chief rabbi. Some of the many memorials and tributes focused on his prodigious body of work, his many books, essays, lectures that grappled with the meaning and relevance of Jewish practice and tradition in the modern age, the Isaac position. Others focused on his generosity of spirit, his warmth, and the integrity with which he explored challenging new theological and intellectual grounds and defended difficult positions. Those who take up Rabbi Sacks's mantle by modeling his traits and teachings may wind up in very different places than those who study and live by his example. For example, many of Rabbi Sacks's writings, particularly those in which he describes his advocacy of religious pluralism, his prescriptions for living together in multi-ethnic democracies, resonate with those who are more progressive. Yet Sacks himself was actually fairly conservative, even advising then Vice President Mike Pence on his address before the Knesset. But that is okay, even to be expected. After all, Rebekah and Isaac were a couple, two sides of the same coin, both part of the perpetuation of the legacy of Abraham. Shabbat Shalom.